Good morning, futures traders. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, the time 9:29. We're trading the NASDAQ open today with QuantAlpha. Market's open in about 30 seconds, so we'll wait and see. We are getting a potential S3 here. Doesn't look like we have a lot of room between this zone and this support, so we place the order underneath this support area here. So we'll wait and see what the price action looks like. We had a quant short earlier around 7:45-ish that was not valid. However, we had an S2. Nope, that wasn't a valid S2. We had an S2 here, which was valid, that closed below. Again, that was pre-market, so we wouldn't have taken that trade anyway. But you can see an S2 is when you have an invalid S1 and your S2 is closes below the 100. Okay. Market is open, so let's see what this brings here. We have a lot of resistance here, so I doubt we'll have any room to take a trade if we do get a buy. Okay, we do have some high volume bars signifying buying, but we have a pretty good area of resistance right here at 77 ticks. We need at least 8 if we get a buy. So if we get a quant buy, we need at least 80 ticks. It doesn't look like we're going to have that at this point. And then we have from here to here, still 79, still not enough. And then if we get an S3, we have this area here. We'll have to place an order above here. So let's see if we get high volume here. I'm not going to do it, but you'll see if we do get a high volume, here's where we would place the order above this area of resistance. That is a high volume.
Order submitted.
So I'll place the order right above this area here. If this turns into a high volume bar, we'll know in about 25 seconds. We did have one here. We did have one here. We had one here. So there is some buying. There is high volume on this bar as well. So again, we're looking for an S3. Again, some more high volume. So we'll see if we could take the break of this resistance here. So you see why we don't put the order right here, because we had this area of resistance and it went almost to the area and touched it and came back. So that's why the order goes above here for an S3. Now, if we do get high volume and we do cross below and close below the 100 and it's a high volume, then we'll take the S2 short because we have an invalid short at this point. So I'm going to cancel this order and get ready to see if we can get an S2. Again, an S2 is you have an invalid S1, which we had here, and you get a high volume that closes below the 100. So right now it doesn't look like we're doing that. We're kind of in a choppy area here. Again, if this is a high volume bar, if we get this arrow here, we'll take an S3 above here, but we don't have that at this moment. Okay, you can see we're just kind of hanging around this area here. We have no high volume up or down. We do have news at 10. So I'll just continue to pause the video until we get a setup. But right now we're in a choppy area and we're not getting any indication that there's going to be a trade anytime soon. All right, so it looks like we're breaking through this area here. Still no valid trade at this moment. You see it hit this area of resistance again and stopped. So let's open this up a little bit so we can see. So it continues to hit this area of resistance here. Still no valid S3. We don't have a quant long yet. And we're not having any high volume in either direction. So we wait. No trades. Again, we do have news at 10, so I'll continue to pause until we get a setup. Okay, we are breaking through here now. So we either get a quant long shortly. Again, not a lot of high volume bars, so no setup at this moment. Okay, checking it again. Still no trade. So now we're hitting this area of resistance here, and then we have a pivot point here. So we do have news in 10 minutes. We just don't have any valid setups at this moment. So if we're not trading, that's fine. Patience is going to be key here. So we'll just continue to wait for a setup or a time constraint where we just stop looking at trades. Either way. So we have no high volume, so we have no S3. We have area resistance here. We're going to have a pivot point here. No signals. Okay, while we're waiting, you may be asking, well, why didn't you take this breakout when this zone was down here? Well, we had a breakout here. If we didn't have this high volume short, that would have been a valid trade. Okay, but we had this high volume short, which signified that there was a lot of selling. And then you could see after that, it was kind of just kind of going back and forth. Now, the other thing you're looking at, the size of these bars are not that big compared to normal days. 58 ticks. All right, this one was big, but look at these. These are not big bars. They're 60 bars. They're while they're moving up, they're just not big bars. So there's not a lot of momentum behind them. There's just slow momentum, but there's not a lot of momentum. So yeah, would have it worked out? Yeah, of course it would have worked out. But was it a valid trade? Not in my book, right? If we didn't get this high volume here, then I would have taken it. But we did. So be it. You need to wait, be patient, and just take the right signals. So again, we'll still wait. I'm anticipating we have news at 10 that we might get a little movement in either direction. So we'll see. All right, still no trade. We're just kind of consolidating around here right now. Not the end of the world. Just exhibiting patience. And I apologize. There's no news at 10. That's tomorrow, Thursday. I thought today was Thursday. So again, yeah, still no trade. So we wait. Not going to take a trade unnecessarily. So I'll go to about 10, 15, 10:30, and then just call it a day on a time because I'll only do from 9:30 to 10:30 with this strategy. Again, the bars are not that big still. Yeah, that's pretty big. It's 103 ticks. So they're getting bigger. So we're looking for either an S3 at this point, which would take us above here if we get a high volume, or we're looking for an S2 because again, we have an invalid short S1. So we're looking for an S2 short if it get a high volume like this that closes below the 100 EMA. So we're looking for a few different types of trades, short and long. Long, if we get a high volume green, we'll take an S3 up here. Short, if we get a high volume short, below S2 below the 100 EMA. Or it could just stay in this area and we just continue watching and take no trades, which is just fine as well. There's some days you just don't take a trade unnecessarily. Okay, we have some volume here.
NQ long.
And so now we'll wait. Put our order here. Bar closes. 2 seconds.
Order submitted.
There we go here. So we'll put this as an S3 and an S1 because again, in S1 we get the long signal above the 100 EMA. Should be plenty of room here. I believe I checked that already earlier. Yep, 185 ticks. So we had a high volume and an S1. So if it goes above this area here, takes this break, that'll be an S1 and an S3 combined. So we have confluence. So we'll wait. I'll pause the video until we get into the trade. Okay, still not in a trade, so I'm going to be calling it a day. Not the end of the world. No trades. Keeps you coming back. So no trades, no losses, no gains. So live to trade another day. Anyway, so we'll call it a day. Almost 45 minutes. No trades. I'm not going to force it. So we'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a great one.